morning, everybody. It is the morning of November 2nd. I'm over here in Pennsylvania, and it's a beautiful morning to be in the woods. It's 31 degrees. We got about a 5 to 7 mile an hour wind straight out of the south, kind of southwest sometimes. But I had an awesome hunt in here yesterday evening. I sat here, I saw 3 different 8 points, all within 25 yards. There's kind of a pinch right here where there's a ravine that runs down off the side of this steep hill with a creek, and it creates kind of a point where these deer have been crossing this ravine down here, and they've actually been running the high sides right down into this bottom. There's a big trail that goes through here. I actually marked this summer when we were in here scouting around. Bunch of fresh scrapes down here on this old logging road. We're way back in here where we're at. I had to walk a long ways to get here, which kind of, I don't like walking through the woods that far, but just for obviously the sake of pumping deer. But it's November 2nd, all bets are off. Get into your best spots. There's 3 different bucks in here I would probably shoot. There's a big 7-point, big heavy 8-point, which I saw on October 30th hunting up on top of the hill. And then there's a 9-point that I videoed yesterday morning in the snow. I had him at 45 yards, but I couldn't get a shot at him. So we'll sit tight and see what happens. It's beautiful out. Well, it's 9 o'clock, and so far all I saw was 2 running deer. You know, just glimpses of them. I could just see their tails way up on the hill up here above me. I don't know what they were or anything, but that's all the action I've had so far. It's been pretty darn slow, considering it being November 2nd. But we're gonna keep sipping on coffee and wait them out this morning. Well, finally had some action this morning. Had a doe and a fawn come blitzing right by. Obviously, figured there had to have been a buck chasing. About probably 3 minutes behind was that nice 2.5-year-old 8-point. Pretty nice little buck. He had good tine length, but not what I'm looking for. That's good though. Maybe there'll be, you know, more on that track. That track is right where I like it, right about 10 yards. It's a little after 11 o'clock and things finally picked up. As you guys saw, we had that doe and fawn come running right under us, and then right behind them was a pretty nice 2.5-year-old 8-point. And then behind him was another 2.5-year-old 8-point that worked up the hill. And then soon after, I saw another doe way up on top of the hill. And then about 5 minutes ago, we had a little, looked like 7-point or maybe a small 8-point, walk right from the opposite direction, heading that way. Came right down this old logging path. I didn't even see it till it was standing 20 yards from me. I've been watching over here where the other bucks were, and those does came running from. Guess I need to keep my head on a swivel. About time for another sip of coffee. That'll bring in the big bucks. Well, we just had a doe come busting right up out of the creek bottom, and there was 2 bucks chasing her. A small one, and that looked like a 2.5-year-old, like 6-point or maybe a big 4-point. I couldn't really tell. They were running so hard. They came by at like 30 yards. It's 11:55, and they're just running that doe all over the place. A big one will eventually come by. Fingers crossed. We've seen, seems like every single buck in this woods. We're just ready for one of the big ones. Well, I just saw another buck cruising the top of the hill up here, so I've actually seen 7 different bucks now, I believe, all from 11 o'clock to 12:30. It's amazing. It's like someone hit the on switch in here. It was just dead all morning, and then all of a sudden, you know, those 2 doe came running through, and then from then on it just fired right up. I wasn't planning on sitting here all day, but it's 12:30 now, and I don't want to leave. It's a long walk out of here, and might as well just sit till dark. So the only issue with that is I didn't bring any food and I didn't eat breakfast, so I'm gonna go all day without eating, and all I had was a big thermos of coffee. But why would you leave a nice thick bottom covered in bucks and does during the afternoon of November 2nd? The answer to that question is you don't. You stay. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to stay. I just hope the old heated coat can hang in there for the long haul. Well, it's 1:30 and it's been a little while since we've seen our last deer, and there's a spot that I want to get this stand moved to for tomorrow morning, and I want to hunt it this afternoon too. It's about 400 yards straight out in front of us, and it's a spot where the creek comes up and kind of pinches close to the hillside, and it just looks like a good natural funnel. And I've, you know, scouted it with my father-in-law in the past. It just looks like a really good spot. There's a few scrapes there that I have a camera on that I've got this big 7-point that I'm after in here not very long ago on the 30th. So let's go ahead and climb down, and we'll get over there while it's kind of a lull. We'll climb up and get back to hunting. Well, we got all set up here. We're right on a finger that comes off of this. Whoa. Got hat hair. But this is where this trail camera is down here. It was actually, it ran out of battery on the 30th, but that big 7 and that big heavy 8 are pounding the scrape that's right here at like 40 yards from me. But the trail that comes to that scrape is coming from right over this way, and it's coming right through here. And there's a couple of real big paths that go right up these fingers up this hill, and there's a lot of feed trees up there, a lot of hickory trees dropping nuts, and there's some oaks up there too. So you got the creek bottom right there, and the creek actually does a big U right here, a big wind, so it pinches up pretty tight right here on this high ground. So I'm excited about this setup tonight. We'll see what happens. That's that big heavy 8-point one I was wanting to shoot. He snuck in behind me and hit the freaking scrape that my trail camera's on. I have no shoot and it's too thick back here behind me. That was only 30 yards from me. So he started going up the hill and I grunted to him and he reacted to it, but he just went directly downwind the grunt, winded me and took off. Worst luck ever. He's still up there blowing at me. So believe it or not, that's actually the second time that I've seen that buck, and it's the second time that he's winded me. He winded me on October 30th up on top of the hill. Problem is, you know, there's a scrape right here. It's only 36 yards away, but there's no possible way I could get an arrow through all that stuff. It's just it's way too thick. There's not really many shooting lanes around here. They've got to be pretty close. There's no logging road right here. And I've got, you know, shooting lanes on that if he would have came up that, but you know, he went down by me and then I called him back up, and when he came back up he kind of went straight to that scrape, and then of course he circled the tree to get downwind. As soon as he got downwind he obviously smelled me. But that old wily buck is really being a bugger. All these other bucks in here have no problem running right to the base of the tree, but that sucker, not so much. We just had a doe and a fawn come out of the bottom and work up the hill right here behind me. Got about an hour left. Actually a little less, like 45 minutes. But I hope you guys enjoyed spending the day with me in the tree. Saw a lot of deer and saw some pretty nice bucks and one really good buck that I would have shot had he not been a son of a gun and got downwind of me. I just don't have any shooting lanes behind here. I mean, it's just so thick. If you look, there's no way I can get an arrow through that. But we'll be back after tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. I think this is the first time I went dark to dark without eating any food whatsoever. Last time I did that, I was in the Army. I don't like it. Running on one thermos of coffee. I'm thirsty and hungry. So let's pack it up when it gets dark and go get some food and drink. Well, I think that's going to officially do it on our all-day hunt. I'm going to go home, get some food. I'm starving. It was fun though. I saw a ton of deer.